battery. Shouldn't, it's full, but always plug in just to be safe. So got this guy finished up here. I'm going to zoom back out. That's a little too tight for what we're getting ready to do. So next, still got these little bits down here. And I've been debating because if it's like a normal Mario world, those could be bricks. They could be green. There were several color options that I could go with there. I thought also we don't really have any nods to the water worlds, trying to think through. All in all, I think I'm going to stick with green down here. And I'm going to go with dark green. So it's going to be a little more dark than these guys up here, so that I'm wanting them to disappear a little bit more. So kind of just dark. And then just kind of come up like that. So you see how I'm kind of creating a little bit of a bowl there with it on all of these. You can do this pretty fast. These go really quickly because we're going to work. The rest of this should go pretty quickly, and we hopefully will finish today. I really want to. I'm ready to move on. I don't know if you get that way with pictures like I do. You reach a point where it's like, okay, time to start another one. I've been on you for a while. Kind of by doing these in the greens, we're kind of getting a little bit of the dreary, like the sewer world. Mario. That was my thought. And I just found a little ball there that should have been colored earlier. That's the fun of this, is you find all the little pieces you've missed. Just doing these really, really fast here. Nothing, like I said, I'm doing the little hint of the highlight here. All of these. Checking over there. Making sure everything's still good and the picture still looks good. Thumbs up on that. It's been one of those days. Technology is cool, and I'm always amazed at some of the things we can do now and how it works. You know, like if you want to get on Mario Kart and race with people around the world, it can keep up with all of that, where you are racing live. How much it actually works, to me, it just blows my mind. You know, it's like, that's a lot if you think about it, to try to have all of that working consistently. It kind of blows my mind. I don't know if it does yours, but it does mine. Got some tall ones hiding in there. Amazed the puppy is still sitting here sleeping next to me, which is impressive to think about everything. She's just laying, you know, sweet. jumping up and around, and she's just chilling. This one little squiggle, he's kind of random. I'm guessing he's more like these guys over here. I'm going to do those a slightly lighter green here in a minute, but there aren't any others like this little squiggle right here. I think that has all of those guys found. And a quick look over. I can always pick my pencil back up again if I missed any. Now I'm going in with number 4, which is sap green. And I'm just going to use that to help. All these in here. Even just the teeniest bit on the very end. You can also use your white at the end, your gel pen, to come in and add in strong highlight on these if you want. I tend not to go overboard with gel pens at the end. I know a lot of people use a ton and they can create really cool works. I'm always nervous about doing too much. I prefer to be a little more subtle. What pencils am I using? Yes, these are Koh-i-Noor Progressives. They're a woodless pencil. They're made of the same composition as the normal Koh-i-Noor, like the cores for the pencils, the polycolor. They come in a set of 12 or 24, depending on which one you purchase. I'm using the 24 set here. I like them for this because they're easy for people to see what color I'm using when I can't put colors up on the screen, so you can tell I'm using a lighter green right now pretty simply. So that's the reason on these. They color great, very vivid. They are a little fragile though. They like to break easily. So a lot of mine you will see, and I get on my pull out this little nub. It's because the rest of the pencil is in my case because they broke. So they're not expensive. They're a great little set, especially for like traveling with. If you're wanting a set that you can take with you easily on the go. Won't take up a lot of room. And because they blend well and they behave well together. Oh, I was gonna go ahead. These little guys right here, I do them green as well, but do them a little bit lighter. So I'm starting with the sap. Yeah, these are like the little spore bits for the other ones, so they're it's my reasoning. Not a very exciting reason. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the light green, and you can see that I was talking about they break. I like them on this paper. I think they've done well. The main thing I love about this paper is how well it erases. all of my pencils erase really well on the paper in this book. I don't have to push really hard. I can layer great. So no complaints on them on this paper at all. I have not used them because I know the paper is different in Magical Dawn, and I have not used that in that one, and I don't have any newer books from Hannah Carlson to know how these would behave in there. So can't speak to that. This paper, they've been great. So you see, just doing that little bit of this light green kind of makes them glow a little bit on the end. It's very yellow green. There have been a whole lot more little bits than I anticipated, and they've taken longer than I thought they would take today. Internet acting up hasn't helped either. There we go. I think that's got all of them. I missed one of these with the darker greens. I'm just gonna put a bit in there on top. There we go. So now those are all done. I got a little messy, so I'm gonna clean up. And this is my little eraser pencil that I adore, and it fixes mistakes wonderfully. Oh, I did miss one right in here. That it? I think so. Oh, and you. There we go. Okay, and I've got one little ball here. I'm going to do it blue, so it just kind of takes, and it disappeared into the background right there. I noticed he was left. Okay, I think that's got us. Now, these little bits right here, all on the mushroom, I kind of left those, and I've been going back and forth whether they should be white or whether they should be the beigey. I think I'm gonna go with the beige shade just because these other smaller dots are gonna be white everywhere, and I think it's gonna be a little bit of a white overload. Doing those the same way I did these right here. So if you saw the way we did all of those, it's a simple little one. I use my number, let me get the right number, number 6 blue. I'm just gonna throw in a light shadow on the bottom. These will go super fast, super light. Just where the bottoms here where they meet. That's gonna be white. Oh well. I'm gonna do a gel pen anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's gonna be bright white. Oh, laundry's done. Told you it's laundry day here. Not very exciting. Not very glamorous life, huh? Okay, and now I'm going to use the sepia to come in And just lightly go over that. When I say lightly, I mean it is the lightest of touches down here. This is a very dark pencil, and if you press too hard, you will get a lot of color laying down. So just be really careful to keep that light touch as you're using this one. It works great because it's the right tone. It's just it can go dark very fast. Just a little bit more there. Okay, so that's got all of those. I know that wasn't the greatest of views because I'm still very zoomed out on this. I'll zoom you in just a teeny bit while we finish this up so you can see a little bit better what I've done. Sorry it bounces. My tripod is wobbly. Yeah, that should hopefully help just a little bit here. Now I'm going in with the light ochre right here. And I'm not going to go all the way up with it. See this great effect it got pretty simply just by layering these three. We've got a lot of contrast here. And in. You guys have heard me talk a lot about pencils. I'd like to know which ones you guys like to use out there. What's your favorite pencil? You saw me drawing the other day with my Prismacolors. I really do like those for sketching and working on these. Not necessarily my 100 favorite though for coloring. So interesting there that they're not my 100% favorite there. I do still really like my koh-i-noors for the way they work in books. Again, though, one thing I do tell everybody that in your toolkit you need to have a white Prismacolor, no matter which crayons or pencils you normally use. There's something in the white Prismacolor that you can't get anywhere else in any other pencil. I'm just using this white to go in and white blend these guys together. That's why I didn't go all the way to the top with the ochre. The white is now going to kind of pull a little bit of the ochre up to get a really, really nice light. tint up at the top of these. I think that has it. We've actually, guys, I think we may have actually made it to the end right here with all of this. I'm double checking, looking around. We are ready to move on to background colors. So I'm going to show you guys the 3 colors that I have picked here. Actually 5. It's a green, teal, and blue. And when we mix all these together, we'll get a nice, fun teal background. I don't like it to be flat, so I'm going to be using these in different areas. My simple way for putting these on is I use the Q-tips. It's the easiest way I can get in all around here. I'm going to go right over all of these little areas here. The beauty is, if there was a white area I missed, I can erase the pastel off just using my normal little eraser pencil that I have right here. So really hard to mess up when you use this. I like the speed of it because normally when I get to this point in creating something, I am so ready to be done. And the thought of doing a pencil background is like, oh, I don't want to sit down and do even more now. I am going to get a piece of white paper here real quick though to protect the other page. It is, the printer is right behind me, so I'm going to stick this in right here to protect it. I'm going to scoot up a little bit. Make sure I'm all in frame. Nope, I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. Let's fix this. Zoom out. There we go. Now you guys can see everything. I'm going to start down here. These are 2 of the darker blues, and I'm going with those at the bottom. And I'm going to fade into lighter blues. The beauty with pastel is how easy they fade together. And because I've worked and kind of burnished around on this, I can just kind of go right over where I've been. Using the darker colors down here. And I got these by shaving just normal chalk pastels that I got these at Hobby Lobby. They weren't expensive, into a set of little containers that I picked up. It's easy, it's fast. And I prefer using them this way than having to get out a razor, because the other method is like you actually hold the pastel and you shave onto your piece. To me, this is a little more friendly. Now, I'm not going to do much more of this shade of blue down here at the very, very bottom, because I'm noticing it is really close in color to my little balls that I have down there. So rather than loading up, here you see how fast I'm just getting a nice background, nice and smooth. And it goes so fast. That's the beauty of it. It's like, ah. Never tried it, but I think it should work that if you wanted, you could kind of block in a piece this way. You could go around and say, I kind of like this color here, this color there, and this would give you an easy base. I'm going to blow this real quick. I know some places they don't blow. And see, I got a little bit in here, wasn't totally burnished, but watch that. It's like magic. It's crazy. Cleans right up. So that's one of the things I love about this. And I can come in if I need to and touch it back up with that pencil. And it's still faster than doing this in pencil. But if you burnish really well, this isn't an issue as much. as well as it shows up a lot more with darker colors than it does lighter. If you look at a lot of my works, you'll see that I really love blue backgrounds. I use them a lot. Yeah, it's really wanting to bleed onto the white today. And as I said, it's an easy fix. Now, I'm not going to be doing this today. Normally, when I finish, I will go in and I'll take this out and I will hit it with spray fixative before I go in with my gel pen. I'm not going to do that today because I didn't want to just leave for a little bit and come back and be like, hey, look, with filming and things. So. I love how the pastel creates its own natural variance too. You know, it's not flat color when you put it on. It comes in and it starts going darker and lighter in spots. It would be nice if you could put a little bit of fixative on before you come in, but if you did that, then it would just cover everywhere. I've also done this where you do this step first, and that's another nice way to come in and set your piece. But I don't always have my background picked exactly what I want when I'm starting a piece, so this is the method that I'm using today. Actually, I have a video very early when I just started putting up videos where I show, you know, layering with 3 different ways, and I do a pastel and then I do marker and then I do pencil on top of it to create some neat effects. So that's an option out there too. You can also go in if it's not like you're having trouble getting it into a little area or you want to shadow something, you can go back with a pencil on top of this and create that effect too. It's very, very, very flexible and really hard to mess up because pastel erases so easily. I'm just really working this edge here because I'm not going to bring in another color, so I'm wanting to fade that out. So it's not a hard line all the way to the edge. Kind of get that fun look of it disappearing. Now I'm going to move in to my other shade of blue that's right here. I am going to use the other side of my Q-tip. I'm going to come in, start filling in these other areas. The shade is very similar, it's just a hair lighter. I'm hoping against those blues down here it'll show up. If not, I'll just get out my other blue. And we'll go I am finding this is my first use, well, I used pastel on the other one, on the pocket watch, now that I'm thinking about it. But this is showing up pretty well. Sometimes my pastels get a little lost on paper and I have to go a lot darker than I would think I would need to in shade to get it to show up. But today the blues are just popping on here, which is cool. I'm not used to having it be that easy. And we're going to blend these in here. Remember, all of these little dots, I'm going to come back and they are going to be white, so they are going to pop on this paper quite a bit. But since I'm using gel pen, the beauty of this is that I can just go right over top of them right now. Now, if you wanted, you could take this bottom really dark and do a little bit of black down here. That could be a pretty cool effect, or purple is also an option if you wanted to go that way. I'm taking it a hair lighter. It's the way I'm choosing. You can see how that orange is really just coming out against this now with all this blue down here. Almost seems to glow, which is cool. I'm going to just take this. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the edge here with it. I do have a piece of paper under my working area right now. Beauties, you just sit here and you rub and you smooth. And it just keeps getting better and smoother and prettier as a background. Come in there and bring it in tighter. Okay, so there is that shade in. Next, I'm going to go in now and start laying in some teal on this. So I've got my teal right here. I'm looking for my other, here it is, hiding right there. This guy, I'm just going to start laying this in here. And I've got some darker green to come in, and I'm probably going to put a little bit, or I can pick up a little bit of the blue right in there and blend it in a little bit. This teal, though, is pretty pale in comparison, I'm noticing. I can always darken up, a lot easier to darken up than it is to lighten. If you wait to lighten using this method, you pretty much have to erase and then put on top. Now you'll see how Doing a little bit better here. There we go. It's coming off the pencil right there. Didn't have to hit that. I was going to have to come back in and hit that with the eraser. The Q-tip itself got it off. Today's is going to be all in all long. It's probably good that it got broken up because of the issues with the internet, so it's multiple videos. Yeah, we will be done today. Blend, blend, blend. I'm loving this color as a background because I didn't really use any tealy greens anywhere else, so everything is sitting really nicely against it. With it being a little bit more green, that makes the red pop and the orange. Orangey reds pop too. I am happy with this choice. That's where I can see a little bit better. When you do shave your pastels, you're going to be surprised at how far they will go. I was surprised, because I felt like I was sitting here shaving with the razor forever. and didn't use very much of the pastel. Didn't, you know, and if I wanted to, I could draw with the other side of them just fine. So they're still usable if I want to draw with chalk pastel. Not my favorite medium. I don't like the way they feel on my hand. So not one I go to very often. I do have chalk pastel pencils, and I use those a little bit here and there. I've used them in a couple of videos. Still getting used to those and the way they work. Kind of gets rid of the issue with the way they feel a little bit due to the fact that you have a pencil part to hold on to. So easy blending here. I'm going to scoot that in so that I don't end up with a line, because that can create a line. I think I've got a little line kind of trying to form right here, so I'm going to do this right there. A little bit one. We'll come back in. You know, just like if your paper's off and you draw with a pencil, you get that awful line. That can happen with your pastel as well. Almost done. Now you can't, I would not recommend trying to put on pastel after you put on gel pen unless you want your white to become the color of the pastel. Just FYI, if you were thinking maybe I could save this step to the very end, don't try that one. Unless you want it to be tinted. If you want it to be tinted, it will pick up the color that you put on top of it. Almost done. Look at that. Isn't this color just incredible? I am very happy with that choice. This is turning into an 8-bit rainbow wonderland. That is for sure on this. So, very happy with the way that turned out. Now, normally, at this point, I'm going to look real quick, see if there's any where it got onto some white or some areas that it needs a little bit of extra attention just because I didn't have the color burnished well enough. And I clean that up with a eraser pencil, like right here, kind of bled onto this just a little bit. So I'm going to bring that back. I do this before I set this with the fixative. Once I go on the fixative, you can't really come back in and erase off. So this is why it needs to be done at this point. Looking around, really didn't have too much of a bleed issue. These guys got a little dirty. we're going to erase those back out. You see how quick that just pops right back. Now, so we look pretty good. I'm going to get my yellow right here where I had to take off a little bit and get those back to yellow. Some of these, it's being a little more difficult. Not wanting to lift as much. Good through there now. Go back in with yellow. Normally I would go out and I would hit this right now with some fixative. In the interest of time and keeping this from me just walking away from the camera, I am not. And then I'm going to use a piece of paper here to rest my hand on as I work with the gel pen, so I don't have to do this. But when you go out and you hit it with fixative, then you can just go all over the place where you want it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm taking out my yellow Stardust Jelly Roll right here. That's my first one I'm going to use. And I'm going to take all of these ones that are glowing, and I'm going to make those yellow. And the yellow glitter is kind of goldish. It's a little more to the yellow, right there. That's why I'm doing this one versus a gold pen. These glitter pens, to me, are some of my favorite things that I own. I do use them a ton. So any of these that have the little glowy lights, I'm thinking of them as lightning bugs, kind of, in this. I think that's got all of the ones with glowy lights coming from them, the little rays. Let that dry a little bit. I'm going to test this. My white jelly roll is, I think, reaching the end of its lifespan. It's been a little bit difficult to work with. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to start over here. Just start dotting all of these guys in white. In some areas it shows up a lot, especially it will down here in the bottom. I'm going to do some of these on the mushroom. Coming bright white now. These will really stand out. And I try to keep them pretty clean because I like to be able to see an idea of what it's going to look like when I finish while I'm working. I'm just coming in and whitening all of these up. I'm going to switch to the jelly roll. I'm not happy with the way it's doing. Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing, Cuddle Girl, all of your comments. Pencil shavings work great. And one thing, when I was talking with the koh-i-noor rep, that he told me that you can use is your shavings from the woodless will work for this application as well. That would mean that I would have to be really good about keeping my shavings separate. I am not good about emptying my sharpener between. So my color I would get to blend with would be a really, really ugly brown. So that's why I don't use those. But that's an option. These pencil shavings do work for this if you are good about it. I am not. So see, now that we're cleaning up that white, it's becoming its own color on here. And popping. One thing you can do is, if you want, I'm not going to bother on here to do it just because it doesn't show up for the camera really well, but it does great for personal, is if you, after you do these white, if you wanted to go back with that crystal jelly roll pen, it creates really neat effects, but you want to put it over white. It does show through, so if you want it to be of that color, it's great, but it's not going to make your spots white for you. And it creates some really neat effects. Just if you were wondering, I've done that before, but it gets lost in the camera, so it would be really boring to watch me do it, and then you guys wouldn't be able to see really anything from it. Because there are so many of these, you could add in a couple of dots if you want to on your own outside of these to kind of fill in spots. I'm not, just because I'm always, as I said before, nervous about putting too many of these in. Just watch, I love watching these get so bright white. You just start to pop on here. Some of my colors with the crystals do show up really well, and you'll see in a minute we're gonna use the pink one. But it's gonna brighten up the pink on here that's already here. Now watch, these guys will really show up down here where I've got the darker. Up at the top, they weren't showing up as much. Now that I'm down here, it's like, ooh, little white. There are a blue ton of these on here. She likes dots. And they do add really neat contrast to your background and make it easy to do a background because you're not having to come up with all of this on your own. I'm just gonna leave that one blue right there. I probably should have been done with these, so I'll have it disappear a little bit into the background. I can always go back with my pencil and make that blue. We're here to finish up this edge. And I'll have the dots done. Dots, dots, dots. And there are those done. Look at that against that background. You don't notice them as much up here, but down here, oh, missed two. Right there, down in the bottom, you notice those really stick out against it. So a lot of fun there. Gonna let it dry just a teeny bit. Here I know is safe. I got a little bit of bleed right here. I want that to be really white. And it's not gonna show up a ton just because this is yellow. I'm gonna add in some white right here. This one's acting up a little bit. I'm just gonna take it on his body right there. Now, because this is yellow, as I said, it's not showing up a whole lot. Just me putting in a little highlight right there. Notice it more because it covered up the black, which works great. Now, I'm gonna put in a little bit here so that they're really bright white, where those aren't true white in here. It's real subtle, but it helps these little bitty details make all this. Oh, I forgot I needed to do. These are bright white, and I meant to come back and clean those up when I was done. Keep those white. This mushroom. There we go. Nicely cleaned up there. So I can go through and I can hit all of these, just that little bit of white, and it's super subtle. But it's not difficult, it's not time consuming, so I would recommend just giving your work that little bit extra right here that adds to the work as a whole. Now I'm going to come over here. Remember I told you the black we would add in? Nice little pop with the gel pen to make these bugs shiny. So there's that for them to kind of shine them up. Do a little dot to kind of end it right there on him, and same here. With the down here with the stones, you just come in and just kind of give it a little bit of a pop down there. Those help too. I'm not happy with that one. I'm going to scrape it off actually here in a minute. But that's the idea, and that's what I'm going to do after I come back and put the fixative on. My gel pen will stick a little bit better with the fixative. I'll do a bigger one here. Just do a little X so you can see it's not wanting to stay on this great. But again, that's where the fixative comes in great, and this lays down wonderfully. I can scratch that off. But that's the idea of what I'm going to do with those, so you can go in and do those on your own in a minute. And then also, this is the little hidden gem. Where are you? This little gel pen right here is the pink. I'm going to do a teeny bit right here so you can see it. It is a beautifully bright pink, and so I wanted to come in and do these right here with the pink Stardust. Add a little glitter, but it's such a pretty shade of nice bright pink. I wanted it in here. And I had that in mind since I did these, that I would come back in. Put those in. Right there. So now we've got that nice little bit. And I'm going to post pictures of this on my Instagram so that you can see it close a little bit easier, zoom in. Some of these details I'm looking over here are getting really lost in it all. And the line. So, yeah, the couple of things that I'm going to do off camera right here. I told you guys what I was going to do with it, that I'm just going to go through and fix these little things because they're not wanting to stick really great right now. As well as I might whiten up a couple of these dots where it's wanting to bleed through, which happens sometimes with gel pens when it's not sealed ahead of time. But I think we can call this one finished. So I am happy with the way it has turned out. I hope you are too, and you've enjoyed this one. Going to be thinking on the next live stream. So if you want to shoot me a comment down below for the ideas that you have for what that could be, I would greatly appreciate that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Grace and Lottie's. I post pictures there frequently, more so on the Instagram side than the Twitter side, but just of what I'm working on, some things in progress, ideas I've had, that kind of stuff. It's all there, ready to go. So you can find that there. You can also go over and check out the blog. I've got some coloring sheets that I've made over there that are free if you want to download those and color those. And if you do, please tag me in those and post those so that I can see them, because I love seeing the creative minds that are out there and what people do and create. So please be sure to do that if you do. And remember that art happens in everyday life. Make sure you're watching for it. Bye.